And the first thing he did, he created Tetris. Yes. So, I mean, and that's just in a one Word document prompt, and you just put that in there, and then that's able to create that game for him in seconds.
Yep.
Which kind of shows you the power of the tools that we have at our disposal.
Yeah. So funny note about that. I ran into Ryan later, was chatting a little bit with him about that. So he said he at the end, they fired off cannons with confetti. He said they only told him 10 minutes before he was going on that they had the confetti cannons there.
Fantastic.
So he said he vibe keynoted at that end.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Because he left us with be creative, build, and then let's go. And then boom. That was really
the confetti went off. So
that was a lot of fun.
It was a great way to kind of kick off the last day.
Absolutely.
Welcome, everyone, to the PowerPlatform Boost podcast, your weekly source of news and updates from the world of the Power Platform and the Microsoft community, with your host, Nick Dolman and Ulrikke Akebek. A little bit.
Okay. Hey, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
We're live here from PPCC, Power Platform Community Conference here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Yes, we are. And
you may hear a little bit of a background noise. They're tearing down the community area, but hopefully this we may have to AI the sound a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see what AI can do with this. Right. Okay. So this is Thursday. It's closing day, last day of the thing. It's actually workshops are happening tomorrow.
Yes.
I know a few of our community friends have a workshop thing happening. But for the rest of us, we are now officially finished with the conference. So what's been the highlight for you?
Okay, so the 3 days were amazing. Did a workshop on Monday with amazing Elaiza Benitez. We just said goodbye to Elaiza. She's flying home, so it was good to see her. Bye, Elaiza. So that was good. And we also did a session on Plan Designer on Tuesday afternoon, which was a lot of fun. Yesterday, me and a few others played hooky. We went to the Grand Canyon, which I think is something we should do at conferences now. Like you have an intense couple days and then have a day off in between where you just can relax and chill or maybe go to the pool. Or go see something, and then back at it today.
Yeah, maybe that's what we should have, a gap day. All conferences should have a gap day. Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, like a part 1 and a part 2. But I think one of the highlights for me was this morning's keynote.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about it. It was Michael Phelps, who, of course, is a 5-time Olympic gold medalist. And just about his journey about becoming the training he did, the intensity. And of course, he also covered things with mental health at the end, which are things that these are things that are very important to me.
Yes.
And what his speech was like, yes, he's a professional athlete. He's been paid. He's been in the Olympics for years. He trained every day. But some of the things resonated with me as I called myself a hobbyist athlete. So I understand the training, the mentality, but he was talking about the things he does, like visualization. I do that.
Yeah.
I think I've told you this, and yet, but as a way for me to get to sleep, I will visualize the lifts I'm going to do in the powerlifting and things like that. He talked about that. It's sort of, okay, that resonated with me. And also about preparing for things that could go wrong, about how his coach broke his swim goggles. And so he had to swim one day without the goggles. And then and then that helped him in a later event because all of a sudden his goggles filled with water. He still won the gold medal.
Wow.
But he said, but because of the timing and the training of these things, and it sort of goes for, to me, it kind of reflects on life. Life's not perfect, and we have to sometimes adapt. We do demos and things, right? You know how it is in presentations. The demos don't go well, and then we have to kind of improvise. And because of, what we do when we practice, it becomes better. And then the other thing too, which really kind of hit home with me about how he said out of the 5 Olympics that he did, only one of them he felt he was really at 100%. And other times he's at maybe at 60% or 75%. And this is something I constantly feel going to these powerlifting meets. I'm literally like, okay, I feel I wasn't at 100% today for various reasons, the timing, the food, all the other factors involved, but it's just sort of preparing for that. So anyways, all in all, an amazing keynote. He was interviewed by Sangeet Singh, who's senior VP in Microsoft. And incidentally, I did actually bump into Sanya a little bit after. So I had a nice little chat with her. But overall, I think to me, that was the highlight of this event. And of course, all the other great content and all the other things, the announcements and everything else was great. But that was sort of the highlight.
Yeah.
And then maybe Christina Aguilera, that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah? You like that?
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that was a really highlight for me. And this is one of those things, just knowing people here and being able to, so we went up very close to the stage. I was so close. I was so close to Christina Aguilera. That was so much fun. No, and just speaking of the keynote, so after Sanya had that session with Michael Phelps, Ryan Cunningham takes the stage to kind of ramp us up for the last day of the conference, talking about creativity. And he took us kind of back in time to when, the fidget spinner thing was a thing. And he said probably less people in the whole world making Power Apps than we are here today. So this conference had around 7,000 attendees, right? Or roughly, right?
I think so.
So that tells you something, right? So, and he said there was this 18-year-old kid who made a fidget spinner in Power Apps and using a feature that they really hadn't intended to keep there. It was something that came in with Power Effects, that came from Excel. They were like, no one's going to even use this. This has nothing to do with business applications, but they just left it in there. That little thing enabled him to do that, and that just took off. And then it kind of brought it back into this today and announcements around App Builder and Microsoft 365. And the first thing he did, he created Tetris. Yes. So, I mean, and that's just in a one Word document prompt, and you just put that in there, and then that's able to create that game for him in seconds.
Yep.
Which kind of shows you the power of the tools that we have at our disposal.
Yeah. So funny note about that. I ran into Ryan later, was chatting a little bit with him about that. So he said he at the end, they fired off cannons with confetti. He said they only told him 10 minutes before he was going on that they had the confetti cannons there. So he said he vibe keynoted at that end.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Because he left us with be creative, build, and then let's go. And then
boom.
That was really
the confetti went off. So
that was a lot of fun.
It was a great way to kind of kick off the last day.
Absolutely. So any sessions worth mentioning? Anything you wanted to highlight in terms of content from this week?
Oh, I think like a couple of the big announcements, of course, plans and Plan Designer, because we talked about it. The fact there's going to be a code agent in Plan Designer, I think, is huge. The fact that now Plan Designer, of course, creates Canvas apps, creates flows and all the other things. It's also going to create code for us in code apps. So interesting to see that. I think we're going to see more at Ignite in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So there is an announcement on a blog that we're going to have in the show notes. So definitely check that out. As one of that was probably one of the bigger announcements. There's definitely a few others. Of course, logo changes.
Oh yeah, icons, no logo. Right? Icon changes. Mm-hmm.
And a few other announcements around like agent apps. Mm-hmm. And I know that's on kind of our list. And I'm always like, to me, I always have mixed feelings about like an announcement like that, because it's a case of anybody can build an app or anybody can build an agent. I'm like, okay, we've heard this before. We've heard this in the 90s with Visual Basic. Yeah. We've heard this when Power Apps came out saying, oh, if you could do a PowerPoint, you can build an app. And then not to say that people have gone on and built apps with those skills, but still there's a certain amount of skills and aptitude that you need to effectively build these apps. So now we have these agent apps that you can build part of M365 Copilot that really are only back their data source, and makes me cringe.
Is it a data source?
They called it that. And I'm like, oh, it's a SharePoint list on the back end. And so to me, it's kind of like, well, this is it's not even a Power App. It's something else again. Yeah. And I think it kind of confuses the market a little bit. Mm-hmm. I get what they're trying to do, and I get the technology, and I also recognize that there are competitors out there that Microsoft needs to address. Yeah,
that's probably the big thing on this one.
Anyways, I don't know. I'm still a fan of build where Power Apps is going in a sense. I'm not sure how this new M365 app builder really. I realize where it plays in the story, but I think it's going to confuse people, and they're going to be focused on that when really they should be starting with Power Apps. Yeah. And again, it's going to be another case of, well, we're going to do it this way because we're going to save money on it. Okay, here we go. So anyways, Rant over.
Absolutely.
We have to have a rant.
Yeah, well, of course we do. Yeah, a very good time, very well timed. Yeah. Right, okay. So because there are now we feel a bit pressure, we're going to go through the list because there was a lot of other news and updates this week as well. Not just beyond here. So that was very cool. So let's dive into the news and updates.
Yes.
So, and actually this time around, we have a bit of a follow-up thing because a lot of the things that we're going to share is actually following up from last episode. So we start off with Luise Freese. This is new. She talks about how to fix your LinkedIn feed. And this is a 2-step process. These are 2 different there's a one and a second version of this, where she has these document thingies on LinkedIn sharing how to fix your LinkedIn feed. And it's all about teaching the algorithm who you are. So, and as most of us know, a like or a share, that's not going to do much, but a comment, that's going to do so much more. And scroll past content you don't want to see, and don't engage in content that you don't want to see more of, because what that will do is to just show the algorithm, oh, this get you interested, and they don't see the difference between the bad and the good. So a lot of good tips and tricks from Luise, which I'm adopting slowly myself, because I think that's and that goes for other kind of behavior as well online, because these algorithms, they do learn who we are. So it's also our responsibility to teach them who we are and what we want to see. And then you saw something new from Daniel?
Yeah, so this came out today, actually, or he posted it today. It's about using MCP server. So we are obviously working a little bit differently today. It is a PowerPlatform CLI MCP server, and he created some labs. Created a lab on this, so show you how to use it to ask questions of using natural language instead of having to remember all the CLI commands. And this is something for me, I'm constantly asking them help on the CLI, and I have posted at home on my corkboard a list of all the CLI.
I have
commands.
A OneNote that I just copy from, and I have the clipboard thingy that I use, and we have so many mechanisms for this.
So I haven't had a chance to dive into this, but this is something I'm going to do. He did mention to me, because this is Daniel, right? Because he knows how to work the system a little bit. So I saw this. I'd already added it to our notes, and then he actually sent me a message going, "Hey, look what I did today." I already saw it. But he did say something about there's a report. He said the links are broken in there for some reason. He said, I said, "Oh, we're going to mention the podcast." So he said, "Make sure you let people know that the links are broken, I think, in the report section or whatever." So it's... Hopefully you'll get fixed by the time you look at this. But just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Daniel. That's very good.
Oh, yeah, this.
Yes, this, because I wanted to showcase a new area that I found on Microsoft. It's not Docs. It's called Work Lab. I was doing some research into custom UI for chats and AI chats. And I came across this site on the Microsoft.com that has so many good articles and resources about AI. For instance, an interactive quiz, which 12 questions gives you an AI, how do you AI kind of DNA profile, and so many good interactive articles. So I just wanted to showcase this whole space. And if this is something that you're kind of toying with, it has a very different look and feel to any other things Microsoft. This is more modern, more edgy. I'm more like kind of honest kind of
okay, wow.
space. Yeah, a lot of block colors.
The colors are,
actually very much like what Anna does.
Yeah, is it Anna write this? Maybe
did you have something to do with this? No, but it's a very good resource, and it's been a while since I've come across a resource that kind of pulls me in like this, because this actually, it was so good. Articles very short and sweet and easy to go to the next thing, and it was so actual and factual and very well researched, and of course lots of other things. So yeah, absolutely go check that out.
All right, for sure. Yeah. So we're going to dive into a little bit of PowerPages stuff as well. Quite a few PowerPages announcements, but also stuff from the community. Tino Rabe, he posted something that says, I think is going to be a great resource.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is something both you and I have fought with a little bit.
Spent so many hours. I mean, come on.
Yes, I've heard, you rant about some of this as well.
Yeah, we could just replay those. Don't have to take those again.
Exactly. Yeah. But basically, he built a guide for configuring authentication. It's a complete 0 to 100% Kickstarter guide to PowerPages for authentication for setting up external Entra ID. It recognizes you can, if you follow the basics, you can get it going, but all the little intricacies and the claims mapping, the different setups, the flows, the MFA configuration. So Tino's put a guide together to help us out. So I know this is going to be heavily bookmarked for me as we're going forward. I have a couple projects that are very intense with the authentication. So thanks Tino for another awesome resource.
And he also calls out something that I think is not often spoken about, and that is that there's often a gap, right? So we're PowerPages people. We know that product, but we are connecting to something in Azure. None of us are Azure people, really.
Right,
But suddenly it's required of us to have the skill set to navigate Azure, just to know what an app resource is, to understand client ID, client secret, and tenant, and all the things you need to know about, and to actually dare go in. I remember the first time that I kind of, tipped my toe into Azure, I felt such pro coder, and I was so scared to break the internet. But he points out that there are so many things we do that when you connect to other applications or we connect to other systems, that there's a gap. And so if you can be the consultant that has the knowledge and the skill set to bridge those gaps, and I think that's one of the things I pride myself on in my career as well, that I've talked about this before, the fringed competency thing. And this is speaking directly to that. So you come in and you're a PowerPages consultant who knows how to do this. This is a brilliant example of knowing something outside your scope that will enhance you as an employee and as a consultant. Same goes for Power BI reports. So many times I've had to set up Power BI reports and to set up that connection and get that up and going. And it is very valuable for the customers to not have to always bring in a Power BI consultant at that point, for instance. Maybe they come on later. So I really like the fact that he's pointing at that directly.
Awesome.
Yes.
Moving along. Other big PowerPages announcement this week that kind of took us also by surprise a little bit. And I actually I saw the team, because usually as MVPs, we do get a little bit of an insider ahead preview of some of these new features coming through. What we're talking about is the server logic from in PowerPages. And what it is the ability to run JavaScript securely on the server and having the ability to interact with Dataverse. And it was actually our friend Victor Dantas. He actually messaged me.
Yeah, he did on LinkedIn.
He said, guy, has anybody seen this? Anybody know what this is about? And we're like,
no, this came out of the blue. Yeah.
And it's interesting enough. So it looks like a really cool thing. I haven't had a chance to try it out yet. I really think it's meant to enable more the single page applications or the coded PowerPages.
Absolutely.
I think they're still trying to kind of nail down an official name for that. I saw the engineering team, I saw Dipti, and I kind of said like, any feedback, whatever, like, why are you holding back secrets from us? Because it's like, and she laughed. Apparently she said, I guess they wanted a bit of the way she framed it, they still wanted to surprise us with stuff. But I also know that I think there was, things might have got released a little bit earlier than they had thought as well.
Well, now you're giving away state secrets. Come on.
Yeah. Anyways, it was all planned this way.
Yes, this is what it was intended to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm not too techie and the server, the client side. Okay, so this, for me, tell me if I got this right. If I want to do this today, I'll have to rely on a plugin. If I want to make something happen, asynchronously and bring the feedback back to the page, because I can fire off a flow and I could do log on the back end, but I can't in PowerPages get that feedback right away or wait for that thing to finish before we move on to the next step. Is this going to solve that specific thing?
Actually, with Power Automate, it is synchronous from PowerPages. Not too many people know that, but there is a bit of a delay. There's a bit of a setup. It also uses Power Automate licensing. This is something where we have that server logic. We can also apply web roles and permissions around that. And instead of writing this time, if I'm writing an Azure function, for example, and trying to wrap an API and security and pass tokens and all that kind of thing, don't need to worry about that anymore. All taken care of.
Nice.
I can call it. I can even run. We can even have it trigger custom actions within Dataverse.
Right. Fantastic. Without having to rely on Power Automate. Because in most use cases, when it's a UI sensitive thing, it takes too long.
Yes.
Right. And you have to warm it up and it's a bit of a lag and it creates not a desired user experience. So that's what I was looking for. If this is a way for me to fire off some logic and actually be able to just wait for it to finish and then move on to the next thing. And that's
exactly. And this is going to clean up a lot of that legacy code that's using Azure. Remember, like Azure Azure companion apps
Whew.
or buddy apps Colin used to call them.
Oh,
that's going to eliminate this and make that a lot
fantastic.
easier.
So this is a very welcome change.
All right. Again, moving along. Also, the PowerPages. I know we're kind of focused a bit heavy on that, but the ability to strengthen your security with a CodeQL code scan.
Yeah.
Now, again, I haven't dived too deep into this at all, but this, of course, security around PowerPages, because PowerPages is exposed to the external world.
Yeah.
So this is something that's going to help strengthen that, identify these things, allow you to fix them and make your site even more close. And then even some of the sessions I saw this week from the team, they were talking about what they're doing with the web firewalls and the security they have built into PowerPages. There was a lot of malicious attacks, not necessarily attacking PowerPages, but in general that Microsoft shuts down based on their infrastructure. So again, if you're thinking of building your own website and hosting it on your own, either in Azure or whatever, remember, if you build it within the context of PowerPages, you get that whole other security ecosystem behind it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I talked to Nikita Polyakov on the CAT team yesterday about this as well. And he said this is when you download your site to Visual Studio Code, and then you have this CodeQL way of scanning that JavaScript from that as a tool, which will go scan through all the scripts on the whole site to make sure that it's all secure, that you haven't exposed anything you shouldn't, and it's actually just it's a buddy, right? It's a security buddy on the way when you're developing, because recognize Microsoft can only do so much, and this goes for accessibility as well, right? The product can only be as good as what they deliver, and from the second you open the box, it's on you to make sure that it's secure and it's it meets all the requirements. So this is something to help you along those lines. So team, accessibility checker is next, right? Yes. Thank you very much.
I asked Dipti for the skip first run experience.
Oh, did you? What did she say?
She laughed. She was, I know.
Oh, okay. So they are aware.
So yeah, she was really aware. She
the
goes,
100
she just
emails.
As soon as I said it. All right. So guess who's back? Back again.
Yeah. Clip is back.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. No, this is just a post I saw from Satya Nadella. I don't really know what this video has to do with anything, but the general gist of the thing is, you remember I talked about the Microsoft chat, not Microsoft 365 chat, not Copilot chat, Microsoft chat for your personal user that you have on your laptop, which has the vision. You can share your screen with it, and has the little smiley blob thing in the middle. Yeah. Now you can get the little blobby thing to become clippy with the skin. So that's just this news, and it's just those little frilly things. Yeah, but who doesn't want clippy, right? So yeah. So fun.
All right. This was... Remember, like last week, feature requests?
Yes.
Matthew Devaney was saying, wouldn't it be great if we could do FetchXML as a knowledge source in Copilot Studio? Well, we saw this week Andreas Adner, who I think we might have covered his stuff before. I'm not sure.
It looks familiar.
The name sounds familiar. Yeah. And Andreas, thanks you for the content. Inspired by that post from Matthew, went ahead and built a system to use FetchXML and make it a something that will get triggered on a knowledge requested trigger in Copilot Studio.
Yep.
So
found a way to solve it. It's a bit of a workaround hack at this point, but it's nice and it's very cool. And we love it when you guys just run with these things. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And also by doing this, you also learn a little bit about the ecosystem and how you can kind of configure it to do what you want. Because at the end of the day, what we do when we configure stuff is that we learn a few tricks along the way to how to work around and to get it to do our bidding, even though that's not what it's completely designed to do. No, we get it to work the way we want it.
But that's a great thing about hacking some of these things. That's how you learn too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah. Awesome job. Whoops. Oh, did I close the link?
Yep. So do you want to go back to the OneNote and open it again?
So now you're seeing Clippy is back.
Agent by Ryan.
Oh, yeah. So we talked about that Agent Builder.
Right, okay.
So that was the post about Agent Builder that was announced this week. So we can skip over that. And now
I get to talk about Lydia's thing. Which she has, so in the keynote, the first keynote of this conference, they showed off some of the new Copilot Studio capabilities. And then in true fashion, Lydia gets up on stage. She creates a Copilot Studio agent with all the bells and whistles in under 4 minutes, and she had time to spare. So what did she?
Timer running,
Yeah, she had in the background with knowledge sources, with child agents, so many things that she set up in just a few minutes. And then, of course, what do you do when you have time over? You test. So she showcased something new called test sets. And we have a blog post talking about how to create test cases to evaluate your agent. And you can choose from 10. We looked at this before. We talked about this in the podcast before, where you can choose if you wanted to create 10 questions for you that it's going to run every time. If you're going to test by data, it's all automatic testing, because that is what you have to do. Every time you make a change, and with something non-deterministic like this, you need to make sure that you test it every time, and that over the course of your development cycle that you see that the majority of the answers you get are okay. It's never going to be 100%, but at least to the point where you are satisfied with it. Yeah. So thank you, Lydia, for a very good demo. You are just top of the... I love seeing your demos. I'm just such a fangirl.
And it's funny because I was telling you earlier, Lydia interviewed me today about things in the community and things like that, and I got to pitch the podcast a little bit as well.
Oh, that's really good.
And sort of my involvement.
She's a supporter of the podcast from before. We talked with her on the community kind of posting on the community channel and LinkedIn as well. So
so awesome. Thank you, Lydia, for being a fan. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so gonna go and we're into the Jukka Corner.
Yeah, I just put that in there, and as soon as I wrote Jukka Corner, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. We need a Jukka Corner on the podcast. And Jukka posts something almost every day, and as much as you are a grumpy old man yelling at the clouds sometimes, Jukka, but you always resonate, always. And this is just a simple post with a very descriptive illustration, which says, if being hard on yourself worked, it would have worked by now, which is a comment on how hard we are on ourselves, and how much we are taught that pushing through is the solution, where it's not always the solution. And I encourage you to go in and read that post, and also follow Jukka. He's a thought leader in our space, and his post enriches my day. So thank you, Jukka, for doing what you do, and keep it going, because we need you in this space.
Absolutely. So, that was a lot of content, and if it sounds like we're rushing a little bit, it does look like they're tearing down the whole set.
I think they're actually waiting with this part now just because we're sitting here. So we're going to enable the team to kind of get everything.
They have to be fans of Boost, probably.
Oh yeah, probably, yeah.
All right, they're going to ask for autographs after. But just quickly, we'll move on. So we're here at PowerPlatform Community Conference is wrapping up, but they've announced next year roughly the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of right before Halloween. Mm-hmm. So I hope to be back here next year again. And
me too.
Yeah, but in between now and then, there's one or two things happening.
Oh, conference season is like a full year cycle at this point, right?
But I love it. It's I'm seeing my friends. We're learning new things.
Having so much fun.
Yes.
So
next up for me is Microsoft Ignite in San Francisco. Looking forward to that. Going to be a lot of friends there, either participating or doing expert booths or sessions and that kind of thing. Of course, some of the announcements here. Of course, this covers the entire Microsoft ecosystem. Probably going to a lot of big announcements, and then things. I know that there's some other. We don't have it listed here because we're not involved, but the European SharePoint conference will be happening. We know a lot of friends will be there. Mm-hmm. I know that there's the Directions is happening as well.
That's true.
I know there's a few of our friends there. That's more of the Business Central conference. And then finally we flip out. We can take a break and we move into 2026 where it starts off. So
this is going to be
Developer Challenge. This week I have been recruiting team members.
Yes.
I think I've got a few.
Whoop, whoop.
Well, they're kind of interested. I'm working couples against each other a little bit.
Nice. So, that's very clever.
Smart. Yeah. So it's I'll
bring a team together
after. I'm hoping to go. And bring a team and dive in and we'll see what happens.
But then we're both presenting at Tallinn.
Yes.
And we're both presenting at Color Cloud as well. Because now we can actually officially tell everyone that we're doing the Agent Academy as a workshop at Color Cloud. This is going to be freaking fantastic. I'm
super excited about that too.
I don't know about you, but for me, it's like Microsoft will allow us to do that curriculum as a workshop. And I think that's an honor for me, for them to say that, yeah, you guys go ahead and you take all that hard work that we've done and turn that into a workshop.
Right. And
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And I think for them too, it's another way because they've done the videos, they've done that. But if you're the type of person who's like, yes, I'm going to get to it. Yes, I'm going to get to it.
Yes.
You know what? Exactly. This is your opportunity to actually book a solid day before Color Cloud, because I mean, it's one of the great community conferences.
Yep.
I spent a lot of time with Matt this week, who's one of the organizers. Like, man, the guy makes me laugh.
Yeah.
He's just a bundle of joy and everything. So looking forward to that. So that way is a perfect opportunity. So yeah, we're doing that. We have a Cloud Tech Tallinn, which is just the part of it's like the weekend after Arctic ACDC. So that's kind of part of touring that together. And then Dynamics Minds is happening the end of May, and then following that will be the European Power Platform Conference.
Yes, 1st to 4th of June. Yes.
And then we're looking at Scottish Summit next October.
Oh, man.
And then Power Platform Community Conference.
Oh, there you go. And then we just go full circle.
So there's the full circle, but we'll keep you updated. These things are in flow. And then the other thing that we didn't mention was Canadian Power Platform Summit.
Yes.
Which I'm not speaking at. I'm one of the organizers, putting that together. That is coming together quite nicely. We're really excited. Our sessions have been picked. We'll be publishing that very soon. Workshops have been established. Keynote has been established, which I am super excited about.
Yeah, you told me about it.
And
awesome.
Overall, it's going to be another great event. And then the day before, there's going to be Dynamics User Group. They're doing their event. So together, it is like I think I said last episode. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been a long week.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be the unofficial launch to MVP Summit the following week.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
So, anyways,
we're looking forward to that.
And I love the fact that we can do a live podcast live or together. We we don't get to do this very often anymore.
I know.
This is the first time we've done it in
a while.
Since Nordic Summit.
Well, live on stage.
Yes, exactly.
Also, yeah. Okay, it's been a long week, you guys.
Yes,
okay.
Fair enough. But, next episode is, holy crap, November 19th?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
You put this in there.
I did put it. Am I serious? Yeah, I guess I am. This is coming out November 5th. We're still in October where we are today. We're still in Vegas. We're going ziplining tomorrow, right?
Yes, we are. Yes. We're going to go Superman ziplining across, the strip. So that's going to be freaking awesome. And then we have Halloweening to do. Yep. There's so much fun things going on. And then this will be released on the normal cadence on Wednesday. So that's going to be kind of a week after this.
And I do want to call out a couple people. Anna Black actually asked me to mention her refreshments that she was serving all of us here this week. So Anna, thank you for that.
Yes, thanks for keeping us going.
Keeping us hydrated.
Yes.
Whatever. And then I met a couple other fans as well. People come up to me and said, "Hey, we're a big fan of the podcast. We love it." One gentleman today, and I wish I had his name. He did reach out to me, but you know who you are. Thank you. He said he tries to get other people in his company and people that are learning Power Platform to listen to the podcast.
Oh,
Thank you for
really
that.
Appreciate that.
So there's a lot of people that came up and said they're a fan, and
how about the same thing?
The same thing, right?
So many good conversations, and also people coming up just to say how they appreciate the podcast, and then they go off to tell kind of how they got into the space, and then suddenly they realize, and they're having this little issue, and if there's anything we can do to help. It's kind of piggybacking on things that we've talked about on the podcast, which I really like, because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
It's to kind of keep you up to date on all the little corners and all the little nibbits in our space. And then if you find something interesting, you latch onto that, and it's up to you to kind of grab it and then go with it. And that's what they do. And I absolutely love it and really appreciate all your feedback. Yeah. Thank you so much. And you've given away all the ducks. So now 300.
I think it was 300 ducks.
Ducks are now traveling to the four corners of the world, and that just makes me feel so incredibly stoked. I'm
I guess the question fooling our audience: do you want to see more ducks, or do you have other ideas for other swag? So we'll keep that under advisement.
Swag requests. This is what you can do. Water bottles, anyone?
No, not allowed.
I know. No, but just right. You can't have any more water bottles. It's fine.
Cool.
Right.
Awesome.
Okay. We're going to wrap it up, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And we will catch you next time.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. And if you like this episode, please make sure to share it with your friends and colleagues in the community. Make sure to leave a rating and review your favorite streaming service, and makes it easier for others to find us. Follow us on the social media platforms and make sure you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening to the Power Platform Boost podcast with your hosts, Ulrikke Åkerbeck and Nick Dolman. And see you next time for your timely boost of Power Platform news.